Hi, everyone. Good morning. Oh, that felt nice. So today we're going to be going over our InfoSparks system, but before we jump into that, hello. My name is Veronica. I work for Showing Time. We're a showing management and analytics service. And today is the launch day for InfoSparks in your MLS, so that's what I'm here to talk about. Happy launch day, yay. Before we get started, has anyone signed into the MLS and opened InfoSparks yet?
Tried to, but it shut down.
What?
Well, not today.
Oh, yes, it was launched today. I believe we found out the exact time was 3 a.m. So for any night owls or real early morning people today, you would have been able to play with it. But you could play with it after this. But yeah, I'm here to talk about InfoSparks. A bit about me before we jump in. I've been at Showing Time for just about 4 years. I don't know why, but I do know the exact day I started. So on January 18th, wish me a happy anniversary. I started off working more with our showing management products like our appointment center, but recently in the past 2 years, been switching more into our market stats products, the most popular of which is InfoSparks, which is now what you all have access to. So today we're going to be going over what InfoSparks is, why you might use it, how you actually use it. We'll go over some stats usage examples as well as jump into a live demo. When we get into the live demo, we'll be able to actually pull up active data that is directly in your MLS right now, and we'll pull up some different usage examples and answer some questions. I see some familiar faces that were in this morning, so for you, you might see repeats, but we'll still have fun. And then we'll go over some frequently asked questions at the end. So, starting off with our use case examples, the main reason to use or way to use InfoSparks is to make charts. It is pretty much there to design to make sure that you are always coming off like you know everything that's going on in the market, you know how to use your data, and you can share it in multiple ways. So you'll see, and we'll get into this a lot when we're doing our live demo, you can put these charts into PDFs that are branded to you in your MLS. You can pull it up and do social media exports, as well as embed it into your actual blog and website, and do CSV exports if you need to like import the data into a third-party service for whatever reason. So some examples of how other agents have used it across the country. This is someone in the Twin Cities who uses it directly on their website, kind of as like a main widget here. And they use our live data so that you can always hover over and see the exact metrics. But they're pulling up median sales prices in the MLS as a whole in the Twin Cities area and showing how it's gone over the past couple years. So they stopped in 2015, so this is an older website, but this is showing our 3-year data, which is our default, but as we'll get into, you can see data going way further back than that. We also have a lot of people that create different PDFs and one-sheets about properties. So when you're actually at the open house, they'll hand out different forms that have the write-up about the property and then information about the exact type of property that it is. And we'll create these later, but you're able to create multiple line graph charts about specific areas or condos or new construction zones directly in that area with different metrics that we'll go over. You can also get segment specific, so if you work more in new construction, you can actually pull it up and show, hey, new construction's doing better than previously owned homes this time of year, and pull up a chart and put it onto your website or blog post. And of course, you can just do this on your website or on the this is Brooklyn, but in your community spotlights on your different websites and pull up how your area might be doing compared to the whole MLS. And a lot of agents create different monthly status updates or weekly updates that they'll send to any agent they've worked with before to let them know about their market and what's going on with them in that area. So if someone's on the fence about selling their home, they know you know what's going on and you can sell their home again for them. So it's primarily just designed to be there to help you be the hero to that seller and buyer that you are and give you the best information. And then if you ever do want to rebrand and expand, you can put together helpful sheets like this, pull out different bar graphs, and pull all the data you need. And the great thing about InfoSparks is it's super easy to use. So this is what the system will look like if anyone has their laptop out and is playing with it currently. You're probably already on this page because this is InfoSparks. This is pretty much The whole system and everything you need is in this one spot. But we're going to drill into these different parameters and details, and then in the live demo, we'll get a little bit more back and forth with it. But to start off, you can always do geography searches for the actual reports you want to. Now, InfoSparks is tied directly to MLS data. We're not pulling data from third-party sources, so we're not getting neighborhoods from, I think someone earlier asked it about like next door. Like, we're not pulling neighborhoods from there. It's neighborhoods your MLS has decided are beneficial to you, zip codes that are actual zip codes. But you can also at any time search different neighborhoods, counties, regions, specific buildings that you might be working in. If you work with condos a lot, you can pull from the exact buildings. Or you can create helpful little geographies here. What we have found out since it's a day one release is for some reason our save function is not working on my demo account right now, but I'll still show you how to make them. But I'm staying in Waikiki, as we all are right now, so I just made a little polygon search here, and that would be, if I was pulling data, exactly where it would pull from. You can also do circles, as you see here, so if you have a specific home and you want to do an exact 1 mile radius of that home, you can do that and save that. Or if you, well, we'll get into that in a minute. For the charts themselves, we have times and type calculations available to you. It'll always default to showing like this, so when you see over here, that's what it's giving you, but you can do line or bar graphs. The line graph is going to be more of a historical trend. The bar graph is going to do more of like a summary view. And then you can do 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, maximum years, which we found out is to 2005 at this point. We didn't go back further than that. And you can look at a monthly rolling and go over that. You have a lot of metrics available to you. Everything I showed you on all those pullouts was median sales price, but you don't have to do median sales price. Those are just what those examples were. You can do sales price, both median and average for metrics. If you just want to look at new listings, all homes for sale currently, pending sales, closed sales, days on market, month supply, percent of list price, and price per square foot, as well as dollar volume. All those metrics are there for you to search, export, create your folders for. And then we also have showing options in here. Since Showing Time is a showing management service, that's also part of your MLS. There's showing data, and you can look at that through the reports as well and track. And then, like we said, you can do rolling calculations, which is always going to give you more of the smoother bar graph, and then monthly or quarterly, which is going to be the exact data points, depending on what you want. For the drill in the details, in addition to geography, you can also search for different breakouts. So if you want to look at specific price ranges, one we looked at in the first session was if you work in the luxury market and you primarily sell homes that are $3 million or more, you really don't need the data for the $300,000 condos on the other side of the island. You can just look up $3 million and above. For square footage, same thing. If you're just looking for specific square footage, you can go for the exact amount you need to, save that, and pull the data for it. Basically, you can get as specific as you need to or as vague as you need to for your uses. Some things to note before we jump into our live demo. We are, like I said, just using MLS data, which means it's accurate, timely, and unbiased. It is the data you're giving the MLS. It's no other data. So it's your data that you're being able to keep track of. It is regulated. We keep an eye on everything. The MLS keeps an eye on it. We keep it complete, standardized, and quality assured. Another thing about that is we update it nightly. So each day that you put an update into the MLS, the next day you're going to see those changes on the actual InfoSparks system. And especially when you get closer to the end of the month, the data gets a little different because sometimes you have a closing on the 30th, but the paperwork goes in on the 1st. So we'll go back and change that historical data so it's actually accurate for the previous month. So it's always, we like to joke and say we change history, but it's just a little joke. But there are some frequently asked questions, the number one of which is, how do I get into this system? So this is typically where I'm going to jump into a live demo before we get into there and actually play with the system and look up specific parameters. Do we have any questions about like the system as a whole or kind of general questions about what we've covered? Yes?
Is this accessible only on the website?
It's,
Is there an app or can we?
so this is a website-specific product. There's not an app currently. It is, however, there's a widget on your MLS that you can get into it through and see, but it will always be used through a desktop, or you can use it on a tablet. There's just not a mobile app in the App Store.
You shared that it's going to update the next day. Is there plans for it updating real time?
Not at this point, because it's always pulling in so much data at any given time. I believe we tried it once, and it just was too much, because we have other data pulls that we do for other products that are like on 15 or 30-minute cycles, but because people are actually playing with the data, it just overloaded. So currently it's on the 1 day. It might change down the line as technology continues to advance. One thing Showing Time we like to do is twice monthly updates to systems, releasing bug patches or updates, and that's where things like that typically get released. Because your MLS is now affiliated with Showing Time and you're all Showing Time and InfoSparks users, you'll get like newsletters if changes like that occur. And something like that would probably be like in bold on the top of it. I don't know of any plan for it currently though. Yes?
So did you say we can pull information from this to embed into our websites?
Yes.
Is it a direct feed?
That's actually, yeah, let's pull up the live demo. We'll continue doing questions this whole time because I like this part to be a lot more interactive since it's your data. You probably want to use it and find out how to use it exactly how it would help you. So we're going to do a lot more of looking up specific things here. As you can see, I signed into your MLS here. This is your main page. You're going to see the Showing Time icon, which still helps you with showing management, but InfoSparks is really going to be the new one that you're going to see in there. And if you just click that, you'll be brought into the login. One other thing I do want to point out here, though, is the new InfoSparks widget. So this is always going to give you that day updated live data. You're always going to see the date that is updated for, and it's going to give you that entire MLS median sales price. You could see the days on market right here, sales themselves, as well as supply. And when we say you can embed the data like you were asking, you can do this on your website pretty much. And as this one is updated daily, so would be an embedded link on your website, unless you choose not to, which we'll jump into right now. But all I'm going to do is click InfoSparks, and we're in the system. So it's as easy as that to get into. You don't need to have a separate login. You don't have to go to a different website. No one likes to memorize 50,000 logins, so as long as you know your MLS login, you're good. If you don't, find that out. And then you'll be able to jump in here right away. It's always going to default to just showing you that median sales price, but you can change it really easily. A lot of questions we got in the first round was a lot about that geography part that I showed you, where I said you could create your own. So I thought we could start there and look up some different areas here. So if you ever want to look at anything other than the entire MLS, you just click where it says entire MLS, and that drop down is going to pop up that I showed you. Again, you can do zip code, you can do the building name, neighborhood, which we're going to change the spelling. Currently it's spelled the European way. I don't know why. We are based out of Chicago. And as I've learned, because sometimes I like to be fancy and do the OU spelling, no one likes that. So it just makes me come off a little pretentious. But so we did find out in the last training that for some reason that says neighborhood. So that'll be changed. But you can go at any time to this draw area section. I have a lot of security on my computer, so it always asks me. But you go immediately to a map, as you'll notice. It's just Google Maps, so it's not going to be some strange system like when a rideshare service drops you off in an alley instead of your home. It's going to be the actual Google Maps map that you're used to. Depending on how you want to view it, you can see a map, you can do satellite. I don't know, it's just depending on what you like. I like the map, I think it's cleaner. And you can do a couple different things. Now, is one thing that came up in the last section is that there are some neighborhoods where they include condo associations, so the data gets kind of skewed when you just look like at the neighborhood. I'm not as familiar with your exact area, but the point of this is you can actually pull in the exact area you want, maybe not pull in the condos if you work with single family homes and just get that sort of data, although you can also exclude that. So what we can do is we can just zoom in on any place that we like. Let's zoom in over here. You don't have to zoom in, but we're going to get real specific, so it's helpful to zoom. And you have two choices. As we mentioned, you can do a circle. So if I know I have a home right here and I just want to see like 1 mile out, I can click and drag. Of course, I don't have a mouse, so I've just made, oh, there we go. So I can just click and drag out from there and just see that exact little subdivision if I want to. Or you can delete that and delete all shapes. Or you can do more of a polygon. So if you want to go here to here, maybe just draw this exact area. Maybe you don't want that beachfront property included because you know that's more expensive and you're just looking for those, and you can save that. You can add additional spots too if you need to, but it'll save that. Now what we learned is because this is day one launch and because I'm in a demo environment, for some reason the save button wasn't fully working, even though it worked yesterday. So that'll be updated, but I can just put this as non-beachfront area and hit save, and it would save it for me. This is that error I was telling you about. And then as soon as you do that, you can return to the list. You'll also be able to see frequently used areas. So a lot of this is just based on what we assumed are going to be frequently used. As you start using it, that's going to update. But it's going to allow you to really drill into any place you want to drill. Any questions about using this geography place, this geography search? Wonderful. So we'll jump back to InfoSparks. Oh, we do have questions.
No, not on the geography.
Okay, hold on one second. Did you have one on geography?
Yes.
Okay.
Did you say you can do it by TMK too?
TMK.
Like the tax map key number? What?
Is that like zip code?
No, no. Okay.
Sorry. It's
Map on the mainland.
okay. It's possible that that is one of the options. Let's jump back to, let's see. So when we do type in this, you can start, is TMK like the building name?
Tax map key.
Oh,
1-4-5-24.
I don't believe so. No, but it'll give you like the building name. So if like we wanted to just look at this building, we could, and it would give us the details. But I don't believe so. I'd have to check on that. I do a lot of the demos. My colleague does more of the setup, so she'll know the exact specifics. I can take down your information after though, and we can look at that. No problem. No, you're fine. All questions are welcome. I just might not have all the answers. What was your question though?
My question is, can you show us how you would embed it into our website?
Yes, so let's pull up a fun report and do some embedding. Let's look, not at this one building. I don't know, we're in Waikiki. Let's just continue looking at Waikiki. It's just giving me building names. There we go, there's our neighborhood. So when you've created your report, which again can be a lot more invested as this, we're just pulling up the shared version. If you ever want to embed it, you click share. And then you get two options. You can do static or live data. If you do static, this report is never going to change. This chart is never going to change. It's always going to look exactly how it does to you right now, which if you're doing a blog post or if you're doing maybe something about a specific point in time, you might want to do. If, however, you're going to be putting it on like a widget on your website or on social media where you want it to continue showing what's going on in that exact moment, you do the live data here. Live data is going to update every single day, so it's going to give you that data point update. It's going to say December 7th tomorrow and pull in the updates. If you check it in 3 years, it's not going to be showing you data from this year. It's going to be that specific day and whatever rolling data you've put in. And then you choose your purpose here. We'll show an example of each one. Because we talked initially about embedding, we'll click the embed button, and you can say whether you want it to be an image, which is obviously not going to be as interactive, or you can do the interactive one, which is going to give you that hover over data point that I showed in the first blog post one, where when you hover over it says this exact point is 350,000 on this day. So you have both options, and you choose the size, or if you know the exact pixels you need to cover, you can do that. And as soon as you hit share, it's going to give you what to copy and paste into the coding. So if you're using like WordPress or Squarespace, there's typically like an HTML side that you can just paste it in. If you don't want it to be fully embedded on your website, but you're planning to use it more for social media, we have social media and email. Again, you just copy and paste it, and it'll put the link in there so someone can click it and see it. Yes?
For the embed,
Mm-hmm.
if you're embedding the image, does that automatically update with live data still?
The image will.
So it just changes every time the person uses the website?
Mm-hmm. It'll just update each day. It's just going to be a flat image, though. They can even copy and paste it if they want for that day. The only one, which for me, I got caught doing this earlier. I have a habit that I typically always switch it to live. The only time when that really doesn't matter is if you're doing the PDF, because that can't update. You've saved it. There's no way. So if I did live and hit share, you can download it here, but if you do view print, it's just going to give you the actual PDF of that report. A lot of agents use this for their listing presentations with sellers. They can look up the exact type of home they know that seller is going to be doing, like a 2-bedroom, 1-bath in that area, that zip code, and show it and be like, this is why I think it's a great time to sell. It's never been selling for more, or vice versa. If they're looking at a buyer and you're saying you want that area, it's never been cheaper to buy. Which in Hawaii, I don't think that's ever going to be something you can say. To be quite honest, from what I looked at Zillow, when I am always curious about somewhere, I don't think it's ever going to be cheap to live here. But as you can see, I'm using a demo account, so it's saying test agent, test office. This will have your information on it. So even if this seller takes this PDF and goes and talks to their friend, it's like built-in marketing for you. It always has your name on it. They know that you're the person who gave them that information, so it's always on there for you. If you want to change those details or add a picture, really easy. There's a profile button up here in InfoSparks, and you can add a picture. As I mentioned to the earlier group, about 7 of us share this login, so I didn't want to put my picture and then get a call from my boss, like, why is your face on everything? So, but you can put your picture there. It doesn't pull automatically from the MLS, so if you need to do a different type of picture, just enter that in. It's really easy. And then we have it set up to just automatically pull all this information from the MLS profile. But if you use a different phone number, maybe when you're actually talking to sellers than what you have in the MLS, you can uncheck and get that updated so that it's updated on the PDF here and it has the correct information. But those are the different ways to embed and update the different information that is embedded. And if at any time you need to re-pull a report, you can. One thing that a lot of people like to do is they'll compare their area to the entire MLS. So since I can only think of Waikiki, what's an area someone works with a lot, or a neighborhood or a building? Anyone can shout it out. What was that? Okay, we're going to do a thing called how do you spell that? N?
No. I-L-I. There you go.
This one?
Yep.
The building, or are we going to do the full neighborhood?
Let's do a neighborhood. Nolani town.
This one? There we go. We'll do the area. So as you can see, it's going to put those over one another. So this is, as a default, like I said, it's always going to show you 3 years, and it's going to show you monthly data points, which is why we got all these sharp edges. If we wanted to, we could go back to 2005 and compare the 2 areas. I find this interesting. This neighborhood is pretty much in line with the whole MLS. That's cool. That doesn't typically happen. But you can also pull up bar graphs if you want to show different changes year over year. If you want to do a max change, well, this one just goes up to 3. But you can do the line graph. You can do monthly or rolling 6 months, which is always going to take, this specific day and then 6 months over and just make it a little smoother. But you can do this at any time, hit that embed or share, and send it out. So you don't just have to do the single line. You can do every area you work with. You can do every type of home you work with, whatever you prefer to do. If you really want to compare a 6-bedroom, 6-bath with a studio, I mean, you can. I don't know what you'll use that data for, but you can. But that is the main use for this. We had someone ask earlier about median versus average. You have the ability to do average if you want to. I just like median because it gets rid of those outliers. Any other questions or polls? Yes?
So far, you have shown basically examples of the real estate buy and sell. What about mining the data about rentals?
For rentals? We do have rentals. The areas you have available, all the property types it's going to include. You can do single family, condo, townhouse, rentals, lots, multifamily, business, and commercial. So it's all the data from the MLS. Typically, I'll say with this system, we don't include rentals, but we know that was a big request for you all. So that is something that was added in. And you'll notice that as we switch to rentals here, I'm actually going to just go back over here so we just have the one data point. This is updating. So I don't know if you noticed when we had this at single family, these points over on the side, it goes from 1 million to 0.86 million. The second you switch to rental, it's giving you that monthly incremental price. So it's making it fit your actual needs, but also making sure the graph still fits to look aesthetically pleasing. So it's changing those metrics for you on the left. But you can do rentals, and you can, if you want to just look at 2 bedrooms, you can do that and see the price points there. So rentals are included. I know there's a lot of rentals here. Was there other data or questions for that? Okay. Any questions are okay, just so you know. I'm not going to blanch at them. But just because some of the metrics earlier weren't shown, we do have the ability to look at lot sizes as well. Currently, it is just, let's see, it is the lot size itself. Was this the zoning you were asking about? No. I thought I found something. But no, you can also look at the different zonings as well and just look at specific square footage if you'd like. Tax number. Okay. We also have the ability, so since this is day 1 release, it's not going to have too much of the showing data. But if we have the showing data in there, you can also do shows to pending. A lot of people use this when they are talking to, their sellers if they're wanting to show that perhaps a time to change the price of the home. If typically a 2-bedroom, 1-bath only needs 10 showings to get a pending and they're at 25, maybe the price is not great, you can actually show the data from your MLS to have that conversation. Again, you just look like a really, really knowledgeable hero to that person, and you can pull this information directly with them because you don't have to be on like a special server or anything. You can have your laptop sitting at Starbucks with them and pull up the information right in front. And there, yes, you had a question.
What is your favorite or best part of this whole program? Do you have a favorite material to make you look good?
That was a good question. So personally, because I used to work a lot on the showing management side and also work the stats, I love these shows per listing, shows per pending. So as that data starts pulling in, I think that's super helpful because also a lot of areas that get InfoSparks don't get that because we have that showing data in your MLS through showing time that information's on there. I think it's so helpful because that's not data you can pull easily on your own. You can guess, and people can tell you I get about 10 here and there, but you'll actually have that information. And it'll pull in the showing data through showing time. So if people aren't using that, it's less there. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so the showing management is showing time data. Everything else is MLS data. So these 2 boxes, where did I put my little pointer? There it is. These 2 boxes are the only ones using showing time data. Everything else is MLS data. But I think that's really helpful. Other than that, I think having those embedded into your websites is the part that makes it look interesting because you don't have to keep updating it. It's live data. It does it for you. I think that's super helpful, personally. Yes?
Does it help with CMAs,
CMAs?
comparative market?
It's possible. I'm not sure exactly what the use case for that would be because I'm not familiar with that term.
Pricing.
Just with pricing? Oh, yeah. Yeah, so you can pull up price per square foot, for instance, in a specific area. I'll be honest, I'm gonna pick a random area because my spelling was really bad last time. And I'm gonna save face. And yes, this is recorded, so people are gonna know I did this, but I have to be honest. Let's see, we'll pull up a building. Let's just do this building here and compare them. So you can see the price per square foot. So I would pull that up for the lot itself. Sorry, price per square foot is for the house, not for the lot. And you can use that for pricing the home because you can actually pull up that data and say, you have a 2,000 square foot home. Data shows that this is what that price is, and use that for pricing. Does that answer your question? Okay, wonderful. I saw like 3 other hands. Yes, hello.
So the showings, depending, is getting populated through showing time.
Yes,
So it's going to be limited to agents that use showing time.
yes.
Is there any way of manually putting in showings to make that data more reliable?
Yes, I don't have that pulled up, but there is a way. If you have showing time, because you all do, there's a way to add activity on a listing activity report, and you can put in past showings and then just choose not to show feedback. So you can do that if you're not using the online scheduling for whatever reason. That being said, there's typically enough data to give you an idea. That's the only one where it's not using where it's using a sampling rather than the full MLS, but you can add the data so that you have them more updated. So if people...
People that actually.
Yeah, that one's going to be a sampling. It's not going to be full MLS. We have seen a steady increase in usage. I told someone in the first grouping, I don't know the exact increase because we recently at Showing Time had a big acquisition. So all of our usage just skyrocketed in the past 2 months. So we're kind of waiting to see how things stabilize now that we're 2 companies in one house before we're able to pull the exact usage bumps. But yes, that is the only one where you can add activity, but it's not going to be full data because some people do showings and don't enter it anywhere.
What was the other company you joined?
Showing Time purchased centralized showing service back in September. And now we're one big happy family. I have a lot of new coworkers. I saw a couple other hands. Any other questions or use cases? Okay. Typically, I get here and then another hand comes up. Nope? Okay. Perfect. And then just a couple other things to cover. When you do start saving your areas, you'll be able to pull them up directly through here. You'll have them all pulled down that you can pull up. You can pull up in type locations. So it's going to save your information. And if at any point you don't remember something we went over, obviously, they are filming, so you might be able to come back to this, but we do have a really helpful help and training section which goes through everything. We have videos on here to help you use the system, as well as just quick facts that'll give you just details about what the different metrics mean. So if maybe you don't know what one of the abbreviations is, it's going to give you an exact definition of what it is, so there'll be complete clarity. We want it to be easy to use. And at any time, you can look through frequently asked questions. And then what I like is we have this change log. So as different versions come out, this gets updated. It's not updated with every single update that comes out because we have patches and bug fixes across. But if an entire new UI comes out for it, you'll be able to see the exact date that it was logged. If you're a tech nerd, it's fun. And it's good information to have. Let's see, we have about 7 to 10 minutes left. One thing we did a lot in the first group is we looked at specific condo associations, and one thing that people found interesting before I jump into our other questions was when it comes to seeing different, I believe they called it like steps of a condo like growing larger, like phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. So one that we found out, and I'm going to pull it up because we looked at it and a lot of people found it interesting, is we pulled up these different building names where they have phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3. Since they're in as 3 different buildings, you can actually pull them up separately. Through 3, and you can see how they all compare to one another. Some use cases that people talked about was if you have the building phases and you know that one of them was more successful or whatever with pricing, or one just had a better layout that sold better, you can pull up the information to tell them like, what, phase 2 was more popular. This is the home you actually want to see. And then on the website for that actual association, you can embed something like this so people can see how the different buildings are doing. Or if you are the main sales rep for a specific condo association, you can just pull in the data for that. We've included building names. I think you are the only market we have done that for. So you guys are very special, and you should be very proud. But before I jump into just the last pretty much slide of our presentation and get out of the live demo, was there any other questions? I'll also be at the booth for the rest of the day, the showing time booth. I'm way in the back, so if people do have questions, you can come by. I'll have my laptop and we can play with the data again. But because we're just reaching the end here, I'm going to actually finish our frequently asked questions. So some questions we get are about mismatching considerations. So people will pull up similar data in the MLS and ask why it doesn't match. And it's all because of that 24-hour delay. That's what we just like to make sure people know. So we also go through and do a scrubbing algorithm. So we'll not match showing numbers you pull from MLS sometimes will not match because of that, because we go through and make sure it is not including homes that are like 1,000 days old on the market. So there'll be some small discrepancies. Yes?
So this is the time for, what's a good time to go there to pull data then? Is it best that we do it, because you said you're studying the data in the evening?
Yeah, so it's typically updated, let's see. For you, I believe it's going to be like 3 a.m. it's updated, so each morning will be the most up to date. I'm trying to think with the time change. My brain gets real foggy about time changes, I'll be honest. But since we released at 3 a.m., I believe that means that's the time that it is updated for you each day. If it's ever delayed or anything, you'll know, but typically it's the same time every day that it's pulled. We have it on like a time release. But mornings would probably be the best. Mm-hmm. I believe in Hawaii, it's just MLS data from High Central MLS. I don't believe the other MLSs have it, but I'm not positive on that. If they did, you would see it in the MLS like you do with this one now. I'm not sure. I don't believe so. I'm not sure, though. And then just a couple of frequently asked questions. We pretty much covered them. I know commercial data is asked about a lot. Your MLS has included that, so it'll be included in InfoSparks. If other data down the line needs to be included, it'll be updated. But we rely exclusively on that MLS data. If you have questions, you can either contact your MLS or our technical support team at ShowingTime. If you go to showingtime.com, our technical support number is everywhere. And they're all trained to work on this, and they can jump in and see what you need assistance with. And I know we've covered this ad nauseum, but yes, you can put and embed it. That's what it's designed for. And we went over our live demo. But that's pretty much what I had. I'm going to stick around. We have about 3 minutes left if